You know that feeling when you're so deep into a video game, its story starts to feel like your story? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see exactly how designers make that happen. Let's get into the magic behind how these incredible interactive worlds work.
So right away, we have to tackle the big central problem. Think about it. A story is usually a set path, right? A beginning, a middle, an end. But a game is all about freedom, choice, and interactivity. So how in the world do you get those two things to play nice together?
And this is the tightrope that designers are always walking. If you lean too hard on a pre-written plot, you risk snatching the controller right out of the player's hands. Suddenly, your choices don't feel like they matter much, and the whole thing starts to feel like it's on rails, like you're just watching a movie with extra steps.
So maybe we've been asking the wrong question all along. Of course, games can tell stories. We've all played them. The real question, the much more interesting one, is how do they tell stories in a way that only an interactive game can? It's all about finding ways for the story to work with the gameplay, not against it.
Okay, so to figure out that how, we've got to understand the two basic ingredients designers have to work with. You can think of it as the designer's plan, their blueprint for the story, and then there's the journey that you, the player, actually create.
All right, let's break those two down. On one side, you've got the embedded narrative. This is the story the designer wrote ahead of time. It's authored. It's pre-scripted. Think of the incredible cinematic story in a game like The Last of Us. But on the other side, you have emergent narrative. This is the wild, unpredictable story that just happens because of what you do. Every single game of Minecraft creates a totally unique survival story. That's emergent.
Digging a little deeper into embedded narrative. This is really the skeleton of the story. It's the plot points, the character arcs, the big moments that the designer has carefully laid out for you. A lot of the time, it'll even follow classic storytelling rules, like the 3-act structure you'd see in a movie, with a clear beginning, middle, and end.
And then you have the complete opposite, emergent narrative. This is where the story isn't written down anywhere. It just happens. SimCity is a perfect example. There is no script about a mayor's rise to power. The story is the one you create when you build your city, when you react to a fire, when you watch your decisions cause a traffic jam. It just grows organically right out of the gameplay.
All right, so you've got these two different kinds of narrative, embedded and emergent. How do designers actually combine them to build a game that makes sense? Well, let's look at the methods they use to build that story machine.
You can think of it as a spectrum. On one extreme, you have the string of pearls approach. This is super linear. You've got these fixed story moments, the pearls, and they're linked together by sections of gameplay. At the other extreme is the pure story machine, where the game systems are just generating interesting events, with almost no pre-written plot at all.
But you know what? Most of the big games you play today live somewhere in the middle. They use this brilliant hybrid called modular storytelling. Take a game like The Witcher 3. There's a main story for sure, but the world is packed with these little self-contained story modules, side quests, contracts, character stories that you can do in almost any order. They all feed back into the bigger world, giving you this incredible sense of freedom while still guiding the overall plot.
Now this is where things get really, really clever. Because it's not just about the structure of the story, it's about how you deliver that story inside the game world without just stopping everything for a cutscene. The best designers have this whole toolbox for weaving the story right into the action. So, instead of a long cinematic, a character might feed you crucial info over the radio while you're driving a car. A puzzle isn't just a puzzle, it's a real story obstacle you have to figure out. And, maybe most importantly, they make the environment itself tell a story. Just think about exploring the ruins in Fallout, or the halls of Rapture in BioShock. Every room, every object, it all tells a silent story about what happened there.
And one of the most powerful tools they use relies on a psychological trick called constellation. It's basically our natural human need to connect the dots. When we're given bits and pieces of information, our brains just automatically start trying to fill in the gaps and make a whole picture. And this is the absolute genius of it. By not spoon-feeding you every single detail, designers make you an active part of telling the story. They give you the stars, and they trust you to connect them and see the constellation for yourself. When you have to piece it all together in your own mind, that story becomes so much more personal, so much more yours.
So, all of these different methods and techniques, the embedded stories, the emergent moments, the environmental clues, what's it all for? What's the end game?
When it comes right down to it, the goal isn't just to tell a story or to make fun gameplay. The goal is to create a powerful, unforgettable experience. You can think of a great movie as an experience machine, and a great game is one too. The trick for game designers is getting the story and the gameplay to work together perfectly to create one single amazing experience.
And that brings us to the Holy Grail, the absolute ideal of interactive storytelling. It's to seamlessly merge the story the designer wrote with the personal story that you created through your actions. When a game pulls this off, the story doesn't feel like it's just happening to you. It feels like it's happening because of you. So, what's the big takeaway here? It's that the best, most memorable game stories aren't just some plot that's been slapped on top of the mechanics. No, they're woven into the very fabric of the game. The story and the gameplay have to be integral to each other. They have to grow together. Which leaves us with a really fascinating thought for the future. As games give us more and more freedom, that line between who's the player and who's the author is just going to get blurrier. The most exciting stories might be the ones that no one's even written yet. They're just out there, waiting for us to play them into existence.